Hi, good morning and good evening, everybody. My name is Faiza Alam, and I welcome you all on the webinar series of NetSuite Finance Basics. And our today's topic is currency management. So these are the things that we'll be covering today. First, we will be having an overview of the multiple currency, because in the NetSuite application, if we are using the one world feature, so that includes the multi-company and multi-language and multiple currency feature. So we will be looking into it. Then how a currency record can be created. We'll be knowing about the creation of the currency record. Then comes the assignment of the currency to the entities. As we all know that there are various entities basically on the payables and the receivable side, so that are the customers and the vendors. So how the assignment of currency is done to these entities, we will be looking at it, and at last we'll be ending up our session with the exchange rate creation. How can we create the exchange rate? We will be having an exchange for goods and services, generally accepted form of payment that is usually issued by a government, and the value of any currency fluctuates constantly in relation to other currency. Like there are various types of currency, so rate that prevails due to the fluctuation in the exchange rate, so that is also there. Now talking about the currency management feature, so it is the process, this currency management is the process by which companies can capture the growth opportunities that results from buying and selling in multiple currency. So talking about the NetSuite multiple currency management, so it supports over 190 currencies with real-time currency conversion into it and consolidation that results in increasing the efficiency for global business operation. And many organizations must handle the different currencies as part of their business. So there can be various challenges that the business has to face, that includes how to revalue the foreign currency or translate the financial reports, and manually doing all these tasks would be a time consuming process or an operation or a task. So NetSuite offers a way to automate the multiple currency process. With proper setup, NetSuite can manage the multi-currency at the transaction and at the reporting level as well. And talking about the currency management feature, so it has these features that are involved into it. That is setting up the parent company, because where can we assign the currency? So we are required to set up a parent company for it. Then in order to work on this particular functionality, that is multiple currency, we have to enable multiple currency feature into our system. Then we also have to set up the subsidies. Then comes the setting up of customers, vendors and employees. As mentioned earlier, these are the entities that are there. So we have to set up those customers, vendors and employees to transact in different currencies. And then we have to make certain automations. So there is we can say that a exchange rate conversion or integration feature is there. So that makes the conversion of exchange rate automated on a regular basis, or on based on the daily rates. Then we have to set up the chart of accounts with the required foreign currency, because we have to have the accounts that have multiple currency feature into it. And then we have to have a better understanding of the consolidated exchange rate table, and how its calculation, means how the calculation of the consolidated exchange rate is done. So these are the prerequisites that are there within the currency management, and we should have an understanding of it. So within the as mentioned earlier, within the currency management, means there are various aspects that we have to consider while working on the multiple currency feature. Means after enabling the feature, there are so many things that we have to consider here. So we'll start with the currency management. We have in the previous slide we have seen how the currency management means is required, like setting up the parent company, or we have to enable the multiple currency feature. Then we have to set up the subsidiaries with their local currency. Apart from it, we also have to set up the required entity records that are transacting in different currencies. So for this particular, we can take an example, like if we are a customer that needs to receive invoices in USD, CAD and GBP, that are three different currencies here, and all the three currencies must be added to the customer records if there is a requirement. So we have to add those currencies onto the onto that required entity record. Then talking about the automation of the exchange rate on the daily basis, so as I have mentioned it, that it requires certain integration that is done in the NetSuite application with Signite and Definitive, that helps in automating or integrating the exchange rate on daily basis. It provides automatic daily currency exchange rate within the application. Then we also have to set up a COA, that is chart of accounts with foreign currency. Talking about the remeasurement, so within the remeasurement we have to have the sub ledger transactions, and all sub ledger transactions can include the posting transaction and non-posting transaction as well, which are supported by the NetSuite if the multi-currency feature is enabled over there. And talking about the posting transactions, so it can trigger unrealized gain or losses. However, posting transactions to AR, that is accounts receivable in EP, can trigger to realized and unrealized gains or losses. Then within the remeasurement we have other functionality, that is intercompany journal entries. So each intercompany journal entry between different subsidiaries is recorded in one currency, and if subsidiaries have different base currencies, so NetSuite uses the exchange rate and intercompany journal entry amount to calculate the GL impact for each subsidiary. So that is the we can say the beauty of this application. It has made the whole process very automated, and it saves our time as well. Then within the remeasurement, we have the another thing, that is revaluation. That can be, we can say, I think in our previous session we got to know about the realized and unrealized exchange rate gains and losses. So within the revaluation we can have the realized gain or losses, or unrealized also. And I have told in that session that realized exchange rate gains and losses are the gains or losses that we get from the completed transactions, means that we actually received or realized into a transaction. And NetSuite compares the differences between two exchange rate, then multiplies the transaction amounts to calculate the required realized gain or loss. Similar thing can be done with the unrealized as well, but that unrealized gain and loss is related with the uncompleted transaction, means these are called the paper profit and loss, means these have not been actually realized or recognized into the business, but an assumption is there. Then comes the next step. After remeasurement we have the translation translation feature. Basically it has the cumulative translational adjustment. So what is this? So it is a currency translation adjustment that is used on the balance sheet, which reflects the gain and losses that are caused by the exchange rate fluctuations over a period of time. And talking about the NetSuite application, so NetSuite calculates the CTA through the consolidation and translation. It translates the financial reports according to the rate type that is set for each account rate, as well as the consolidated exchange rate. So it all these things have become automated. The translation has become automated, and NetSuite automatically calculates the CTA onto the balance sheet. Then within translation we have other thing, that is consolidated exchange rate, because there are currency fluctuations and different calculation methods are also there for each rate type. So the consolidated exchange rate needs to be calculated for each accounting period, and NetSuite can be configured for the purpose, like in order to calculate the consolidated exchange rate automatically, or we can enter it manually. It is totally or completely based on the requirement. So for calculating the consolidated exchange rate also we have many options available. We can do it automatically, we can set it to onto the automatic calculation, or it can be a direct or indirect translation. And after translation, we have the last step in the currency remeasurement. And after AR, AP and GLs are locked at month end, that is done on the accounting period management tab there. So the following the required processes become available by sequence, like where here we can have the mark the task for the revaluation of currency, then we have to calculate the consolidated exchange rate, and then we have to run the intercompany elimination. So these are the part of month end closing process, and during the month we can run the currency revaluation, and we can also calculate the consolidated exchange rate. And after the accounting period closure is done, we will not be able to rerun the currency revaluation. So we have to be very careful while running the while doing the revaluation and running the elimination. So that is the thing that is about the multiple currency feature. Now talking about the various currencies. So before working on this, it's important for us to understand the different currency definitions. It can be the functional currency, the reporting currency, and transaction currency. And in NetSuite, the functional currency, we can say that is the base currency or company's primary currency of each subsidiary. And foreign currency transaction can be reevaluated to the functional currency based on the configurations that are being made. Talking about the next type, that is the reporting currency. So here under the reporting currency, it is we can say that it is a type of currency that we get stated into the financial reports, and we can have multiple reporting currency based on various countries' reporting requirement. So this is another type of currency that we can have. Then the another thing or the another type is transaction currency, because it is not necessary that the transaction currency and functional or base currency can be same. So this is a currency on which the transaction actually occurs or happens between the subsidiaries. So there are scenarios in which functional currency can be different from the reporting currency, or it can be different from the transaction currency also. So there are scenarios in which these currencies would differ. So that is about the theoretical part. Now we will see it into our NetSuite application. How can we set up the currency record, and how can we assign it onto the required entities. So the first and the foremost thing that we have to do is we have to enable the required multi-currency feature into our system. So for that, we'll go into setup, company, enable features here. So here in order to enable the feature, we have to get into company tab. We have to hover down. Here within the international language, multiple currency, currency exchange rate integration. So these are all appearing here. You can see that this box is checked. It means that we are having the facility of using the multiple currency feature. So this box is checked. Along with it, we can also check this currency exchange rate integration here. So what happens here, we have to, by checking this box, we are agreed upon to the terms and conditions that are there with this feature. And what this feature will do, it will automatically update the currency exchange rate on a nightly basis, and we have to specify the foreign exchange rate provider within our accounting preferences. So we have to define our accounting preferences in order to have the this functionality worked into our system, or make the integration process smoother and easier to our system. So for that we have to go to list. So we'll go into list, let it load. So we'll go into list accounting. Here we are having the option of creating the currency records. So here we can see that these are all the currency records that have been created. It contains the ISO code into it, and in the base currency is also there that we can make it checked or unchecked after saving the record. So we'll be creating a new one, and here you can see that we also have to specify whether we want to make the update as automatic or not. So I will click on this new option to create a new currency record here. So here we have to mention a distinct name to it. So I have taken this. Then we have to define a default locale for it, that is, the country we have to select for which do we want to make this record available for. So I have selected it, and you can see that under the ISO code. So basically these are ISO code are the 3 alphabetic code that represent the various currencies that are used throughout the world. So as soon as I have selected the required record, so we can make an override of it. We can do it with this. So we can check this box if we want to. So when we check this box, so here we are provided the option for making the required edits or changing the format. It can be before number or after number, so I will be leaving it as is. The format sample is appearing here, followed by the ISO code and the locale that we have selected. Now we will be saving this record. So if we go and look for our record that we have created, So here it is, that is the Swiss franc. Its ISO code is also given here, but you can see that now if again as we have saved the record, and if we want to make it a base currency, so we have to reopen the account record again. And now we are provided the ability to make this currency a base currency. So if I check this box, currency precision is already populated here, that is by default it is for 2 decimal places here. And we can check this box if we want to make it a default one. Okay, but now due to some issues we will not be able to make it a base one, because I am trying to check it out but it is not being done. So again we will be saving the same record, but as part of this demo we can make the required currency record a base currency if there is a need to. So in this way we can define our currency, or we can set up a currency record and make it a base currency if we want to. And here you can see, as I have checked the automatic update box, so it is appearing here as yes. So our next, after creating the currency record, how can we assign it to the required entities? So again we'll go into list, and we will over to relationship. If I want to assign this currency, we can assign the currency to customers, vendors, or employees. So for this demo I will be taking here the customer record to assign the currency to it. So let's open any of the record, as if I open this into the edit mode. Okay, I think there is some scripting issue with this. So, in order to assign the currency to the required the entities, we'll go into the financial subtab here. Take the standard customer form here. So it will change the fields that are available to us. We'll go down here under the financial subtab here, where we can assign the currencies to it. Since we can see here this customer belongs to the Canadian subsidiary, so its primary currency is populating here, that is there automatically. If we want to add multiple currencies to it, so we can add multiple currencies record to it by clicking on this add button. We can also add another currency based on the requirement. And for each currency record that we are assigning, we are having the ability to change or make edits onto the required format of it. So if we want to change the format, here you can see that for this particular customer we are having these unbilled orders available. So if we click on this particular pencil tab here, so we can make override of it. So if I check this box, so here we can see the symbol can also be changed. It can be after number or before number, and whatever changes do we made, we can simply click on done. So in this way we can simply make edits to it. So I will be clicking on OK. Then again, if we want to change for Australian dollar, so we can change the required format by clicking on this pencil or edit option. Primary currency of this particular customer, I have added these Australian dollars and these euros also. Now we can save the required records, so that whenever any transaction happens with this customer and they are dealing into the various currency, so the conversion can be done automatically, as we have assigned the currencies to the required customer record here. These two have been added in addition to the Canadian dollars. So we can see that our record has been saved now. So if we go into the financial tab here, so here these currency record have been added to this particular entity record. Similarly, we can also assign the required currencies to the vendors record also, and onto the employee record that is totally similar to it. So in this way we can assign the currencies to the required records. Now our next concern is how can we set the currency exchange rate into our system. So again the navigation would be same. We'll go into list accounting. Here we have the option of currency exchange rate. So we'll click on this. So here we can see that these are all the various currency exchange rate that are being provided. Means if any difference is there when a transaction happens, and if there is a difference between the functional currency and the base between the base currency and the transaction currency, so the exchange rate difference would appear over. So the difference of that comes under the exchange rate category, and whatever rate is prevailing today's time, so it will be translated automatically. So for this in Excel example here, you can see that I have taken these functional currency, that is 1 USD would be equal to or 1 GBP should get converted into this particular rate. If I am converting the functional currency when its base currency again is GBP, so its rate should be this is the exchange rate that I have provided. So how can we set it onto our application? We'll be looking at it, and it can be made effective as of 31st of December. So we also have to define a particular date on which the changes that we are making would become effective. So this is the Excel example. Now we will be doing the same into our application. So we'll click on this new option. So if we go and see it, the functional currency is USD and base currency is GBP. So here we have to mention the source currency, that is USD. So it should come to, and the exchange rate type is also provided here, that is followed by the previously created one. So we can also create our exchange rate type by going into list accounting. Here we have the option of currency exchange rate type. We can create our own exchange rate type here, and here we have to define the rate that we want to use. So we'll go back to the Excel sheet. I will copy the same and paste it here. So this is the exchange rate that would be used when the USD in which the transaction has happened will be changed to GBP. So that is here, and we also have to change the date, as I have taken the December 31st. So that would be for the previous year. So I have taken this date, and you can see that within the previous effective date means on which these particular record, the exchange rate would had become effective was 4th May, that was prevailing at that time, that is in 2019, is given here. So we will be saving this record. We'll click on save and new, because we have to again create 2 more records to it. again we have to select the records here. The default exchange rate type is here. We copy the same, and we have to mention the effective date, that is for 31st December. Actually our previous record has been saved, but we didn't get any confirmation. Let's cancel it out. So we have changed GBPs into USD. Let's see whether that record is appearing here or not. Okay, our record has not been saved yet. So as our base currency in the Excel sheet was a GBP, so we have to select the same here. So I am taking a GBP, and it has to be converted into, that is 31st December, and we are having the previous effective date, and the previous exchange rate is also populating. Now we will be saving it, save in new, as we have to add another more example to it. Now we will go into the Excel and see we have to keep the base currency as GBP, and we have to select the euro. Now we have to copy this one, that is 2.409, and go back. Here we have to take GBP, and here under the source currency we have to take the euro. Default exchange rate would be same. We will copy the exchange rate here, and again the effective date would be changed, that is for 31st December, and its previous effective date and exchange rate is also showing us here. Now we will be saving this record. For GBP to USD and Euro. So here is the one that we have mentioned, that is when we have converted the Euro into GBP here, and we have also converted GBP into USD also. So we have to have that record here, and the exchange rate is also appearing here. So in the similar manner we can convert the Australian dollar to GBP and 1 yen to GBP in the similar format also, so that we can create our own exchange rate if we are transacting or making the transaction in different currencies. So these exchange rate would be used for the purpose of conversion, that can be used on the consolidated financial statements, and we have also defined the date, so on those particular dates it can become effective. So that is about today's session. In this session we have seen how can we create a currency record and how can we assign the currencies to the required entities. After that we have also seen how can we create our own currency exchange rate if we are dealing in multiple currency. So definitely there must be some exchange rate, so followed by those exchange rate we can define our preferences, or we can make or define the rate of conversion from source or transaction currency into the base currency. So that's all about the topic. In case of any doubts and consultations, you can reach out to us at www.bispsolutions.com. Thank you.